Alright, so our profile is all set up. Now we want to move on to posts. Okay, we're going to do the post part of the front end. So we're going to create a couple things here. Let's create a post reducer. So in reducers, we'll create a new file called post, let's call it post singular.js. And let's go into the index.js and bring in our post reducer. And you can see the flow here. If you want to add anything to your application, any other resources and functionality, you can just simply create a new reducer and a new actions file and then create the components. That's kind of the flow of Redux. So let's add post in here and save that. So we're going to have quite a few types that have to do with posts. So I guess we'll just kind of go one by one. So in our reducer, let's first create our initial state. It's kind of the first thing we want to do here. And our state is going to be an object with posts, which will be an array. Then we'll have a single post, which will be null by default. And loading, which I'll set to true, just like we did for the other states, the other reducers. And then error, which will be object. It's going to work like how profile error works. So as far as let's see, as far as types, we're probably going to start off with just getting the posts. So let's import, let's do get underscore posts, and let's also bring in post error from types. And I know we haven't created those yet, but we will. So let's do //actions/types. Let's actually create them before I forget. So we'll go to our types file, and let's do get posts and post error. Okay. So we'll create our function, export default function, and it's going to take in the state, which is going to be the initial state, and then an action. So let's destructure, let's pull out the type and the payload from the action. And then we're going to do a switch statement. We're going to evaluate the type, and let's do a case for get posts. So for get posts, we're just going to return the object with the current state and then fill the posts with the payload, which will come from the action file. And then loading is going to be set to false. So pretty simple. Some of these will get a pretty difficult, not difficult, but more difficult than what our reducers have looked like. So for instance, when we add a comment and likes and stuff like that. But this is just going to fill the posts. So for the post error, let's just copy this. And let's say for post error, we just want to fill the error with the payload and set loading to false. Okay, and then for the default, we just want to return the state. So we'll just keep that now for the reducer. Now let's go to our action, or let's create an actions file. So let's go to actions, create a file called post.js. Actually, I'm going to keep it singular. So post. All right, so in actions, we're going to do the get post, but let's import Axios so we can make requests. And we'll also be using alerts at some point, so might as well bring in set alert from our alert actions file. And let's import get posts and post error from types. Okay, so we're gonna have a method here, a function to get posts. So let's say export const get posts, no parameters, and we're gonna do a sync dispatch. Now we're gonna do a try catch here so we can make our request. And in the try, we're gonna create a variable called res. We're gonna await Axios, and we're gonna make a get request to API/posts. All right, and then we just want to dispatch the type of get posts, and the payload is going to be the data. It's just going to get the posts, and then that will put it into the state. And then as far as the error, we're going to do pretty much the same thing we did on the profile error. So I'm actually going to copy, let's see, you can pretty much grab any of these. Just grab this from the profile actions file and paste that in, and just change this to post error. And the payload is going to be the same thing. So we can get the status text, put it in a message, get the actual status code, and put that into status. Okay, so let's save that. And now let's create in our components folder, let's create a folder called posts, plural, because we'll also have a single post as well. So in posts, we're going to have a component called posts.js, and we'll have some subcomponents as well. This is the parent. So let's do RACFP, and let's bring in a couple things up here. In addition to React, let's bring in, oops, I hate when it does this triple cursor thing. All right, so let's bring in here fragment. We're going to need that, and then use effect, because we need to call that get post action that we just created. Let's import connect. So that'll be from React Redux. And let's see, we're going to import the action. So the action is get posts, the one we just created, and that's going to be from / actions and then post. Okay, let's also bring in the spinner as well, because I think we need that. So spinner from, and that's going to be in the layout spinner. Okay, now let's go down to the bottom here and let's export default connect. I know this is very repetitive, but that's good. Hopefully that it just drills it into your head how the syntax works. We're going to do a map state to props, because we need to get our post state. Oops, map state to props, and put in our action of get posts. Okay, let's do our map state to props right here. Oops, wrong. That's a wrong arrow. We want a fat arrow. And we're going to get the post state from state.post. Okay, so for prop types, we have our action, which is a function, ptfr, and then we have what else? The post state, which is an object, so ptor. I don't like trailing commas, so that's why I delete it. You can leave it on though if you want. Okay, so let's add our, actually let's do our props first. So we'll go ahead and pull out the get posts, and then from the post state, our post prop that comes from the state, we're going to get posts, and we're going to get loading. And then let's do our use effect. Okay, so use effect, and we'll call get posts, and then we want to add the dependency of get post as well. All right, so just doing that should, once we load this page, it should, or component, it should fetch the post from the API and it should put it into the state. Now we're going to have a link to our post component, so let's create the route first. So we'll go to our app.js, and up at the top here, let's bring in posts/posts, and let's add this. This is going to be a private route. I'll just copy this right here, and let's put it down at the bottom because you have to be logged in to view posts, at least in this version of the app. Of course, you can change stuff later if you want. So we'll save that, and now let's go to our nav bar because we want to add this to our nav, which is layout nav bar, and it's going to be in the auth links. So I'm going to just copy that. Let's say posts. Okay, let's check it out. So we're not logged in, so we can't see it. In fact, if I try to go to /posts, it shouldn't work. Good. So let's log in with my credentials. And now we have posts. Let's click on that. We don't see anything, but if we look in our state here under the post, you can see that our array is filled with 2 posts that we created a long time ago, seems like, which was in the first half of the course, which was the building the API. Okay, so we can now get our posts. So we want to be able to display them here. So I think in the next video, what we'll do is create a post item component that will represent each item that loads from the posts array here. So we'll do that next.